Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for watching today. I am super excited about this video. I am going to be talking about the Goodreads Choice Awards. Now, I really enjoy watching these videos on YouTube. There's a lot of people recently that have uploaded their own version of their opinions and their reaction to the Goodreads Choice Awards. So I wanted to show you my personal reaction, and I just think it's a fun video to dive into and see other books that you never heard about. And I'm going to try to pick my next read. So let's get into the video. This is super exciting. And if you want to follow me for weekly reading sprints, I do that every Saturday on a weekly basis, and you can follow me on Patreon if you want to join there, just for support so I can continue to make book content. Anyhow, okay, so I am super excited about this year because I feel like we've had a great, specifically horror genre of reading, because I feel like it's something that became more popular for some reason, or maybe I'm just like more appealed to it. But I've always loved the horror genre. It's always been one of my favorites. And I started, my first novel was Bram Stoker's novel, and I read that one in 2022. So that's when my love for reading really sprung up. Um, but yeah, let's have a look at the categories. So we have fiction, historical fiction, mystery and thriller, romance, romantasy, fantasy, science fiction, horror, debut novel, audiobook, young adult fantasy and sci-fi, young adult fiction, nonfiction, memoir, history, and biography. It's really interesting, but they don't have a poetry section, which I'm curious why, because I absolutely love poetry. But some of these genres I literally don't give an F about. Someday, so as the years progress, I'm going to get better and better, like obviously into what I'm into and like what I want to read, because I think it's important as a writer to read what you also hate, to just grow and stretch and expand yourself. So I'm very open to a genre that I might potentially, but just for this video specifically, if I don't like it, I'm just gonna skip it so we save time, because I don't want to make this video a million years long. So let me get a notebook, pen, and paper. I should have done this before the video started. So I'm going to write down how many books from that genre that I want to read, and then I'm going to film another video of me reading the books for a reading blog. So let's start with fiction. So this is really interesting because I've never done this, like looking through them like this. So this is really fun. I might do this for every year for now on, because this is actually one of the, I love getting excited about books. Like just doing this, I'm getting so excited, and I love discovering new authors. Even though I don't live anywhere where there's a Waterstones or a Barnes and Noble at the moment, I feel like this is a way to always connect with that. Right. So 167,509 votes. That's a lot. So this is the winner. I've heard of this author. He's written some popular ones. My Friends. I haven't read this one though. The majority of these I have not read, so just to tell you all that. So this is why we're doing the video, because I am making a reaction and then I'm gonna pick the next read. So this is reader's favorite fiction. So a lot of these I haven't heard about. I would have to read the blurbs, but I'm just gonna go off by the covers at this point. So this is fiction. So let me write down fiction. So is there any books in here that look interesting? So I've heard some things about this one, Wild Dark Shore. A family on a remote island, a mysterious woman washed ashore, a rising storm on the horizon. Dominic, Salt, and his 3 children are caretakers of Shearwater, a tiny island not far from the Antarctica. Yeah, okay. I'm not really into like water novels, but like, okay. Home to the world's largest sea bank, Shearwater was once full of researchers, but with sea levels rising, the salts are now its final inhabitants. Until during the worst storm the island has ever seen, a woman mysteriously washes ashore. Isolation has taken its toll on the salts, but as they nurse the woman roaming back to strength, it begins to feel like she just might be what they need. I'm bored. Sorry. Next one. No, I'm not really interested in that. What is this one? The Academy. #1 best-selling author. Never heard of her. Wait, so I want to know what this one's about, my friends. Because this is #1. This is the one that is the winner. Selling author Frederick Backman returns with the unforgettable, funny, deeply moving tale of 4 teenagers whose friendship creates a bond so powerful that it changes a complete stranger's life 25 years later. Most people don't even notice them. 3 tiny fingers sitting at the end of a long pier in the corner of one of the most famous paintings in the world. Most people think it's just a depiction of the sea, but Louisa, an inspiring artist herself, knows otherwise, and she is determined to find out the story of these 3 enigmatic figures. 25 years later, in a distant seaside town. Is it just me, or are these blurbs like hella long? A group of teenagers find refuge from their bruising home lives by spending long summer days on an abandoned pier. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I'm bored. Next one. I've heard, so this one, The Emperor of Gladness. I love this guy's titles. Ocean Young, he comes up with the most profound titles I've ever seen in like anything. Like it's so like, I'm really interested. Should I read the synopsis of all the, is this gonna take too long? I feel like this might take too long if I read every bloody synopsis. So maybe I'm just going to click want to read. So we do have one. I do want to read The Emperor of Gladness, just because he's a poet, and I feel like anybody who's a poet that writes a novel knows how to make some beautiful prose. So carry on. The Heart the Lover, Cursed Daughters, 3 Days in June, What We Can, a Thief, Sonia Sunny, People Like Us, Life and Death. I don't think I'm gonna read that. Right, so we only have one book from the fiction category. Next is historical fiction. Now, as you know, I've read some historical fiction, so I've read a few, but it's not really my genre of taste, historical fiction. So let's see what kind of books I want to read from here. So this is the winner, Taylor Jenkins fucking Reid, of course. I've heard of this author so many times. She came out with that really popular book, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So, of course. And it's really interesting, but the way authors have gotten famous from TikTok just astounds me because I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm just so bedazzled by that because it's like TikTok was not around like even 5 years ago, so insane. Anyways, Taylor Jenkins Reid returns to her stomping grounds of richly drawn historical fiction with atmosphere. Set in and around it has to do with space. Sorry to disappoint you, Taylor, but I really don't care about space. I've watched Daisy Jones and the Six because I love the vibe that it was giving. Malibu Rising, I was gonna watch that, but Carrie Santo is back. I've never actually read a Taylor Jenkins Reid, but my sister did buy the book of the Seven Husbands book. Sorry, I have to skip that one. Not interested. All right, so the next ones we have is Broken Country, First Witch of Boston, The Book Club for Troublesome Women. I think this one might be interesting. I do like the 1960s. Four dissatisfied 60s era housewives form a book club. I love that because I just started my own book club. So this is kind of intriguing. If you want to follow me, you can. It's called The Page Turner's Crypt. You can follow me on Instagram at Sanguine, and you can find it on Fable. The book that we are reading for the month is Hungerstone by Kate Dean. Right. Four dissatisfied 60-era housewives form a book club turned sisterhood that will hold fast amid the turmoil of a rapidly changing world and alter the course of each of their lives. By early 1960s standards, Margaret Ryan, Viv Bush Shetty, and Bisky Cobbs, sorry if I mispronounce, I'm dyslexic, so I can see other letters, Anyways, suburban housewives in a brand new planned community in northern. The fact that all doesn't feel like enough leaves them feeling confused and guilty, certain the fault must lie with them. Things begin to change when they form a book club with Charlotte Guafson, the eccentric and artsy new neighbor from Manhattan, and read Betty Friedan's just-released book, The Feminine Mystique. Controversial and groundbreaking, the book struck a chord with an entire generation of women, helping them realize that they weren't alone in their dissatisfactions, of their longing, lifting their eyes to new horizons of possibility and achievement. Margaret, Charlotte, Betsy, and Vive are among them, but is it really the book that alters the lives of these four very different women, or is it just the bond of sisterhood that helps them find courage to confront the past, navigate turmoil in a rapidly changing world, and see themselves in a new limitless light? This sounds so intriguing. I would actually love to read this one. So we have one. Okay. That was really intriguing. I love that. I love the 60s era and the whole housewife and how depressed housewives can be because they're stuck in their homes, and the breadwinner is the husband's gone, like making the money, and then the women just stay. I just think that whole concept and era is just very interesting. Next, the Secret Book Society. I do like secret book societies. I love books that are kind of giving dark academia, or like libraries, mansions. I love housing books. Any book that takes place in a house, describes a house. a character lives in that house, kind of like a room of Ron's owned by Virginia Woolf. She's in a room, anything like that, and I just find it interesting to me. And usually if it's based in London, like I see here, it's based in Victorian era London. This might be interesting. A captivating new historical novel from Madeline Martin, never heard of her, set in Victorian London about forbidden book club. Oh my god, this is about another book club. That's so interesting. Okay, so I would love to read this one. So interesting. Okay, I want to read this one. I don't even have to read the blurb. I want to read it. Amalfi curse. Isola, her lover marooned on an island. It's giving Wuthering Heights, because do you see how she's like on a cliff over there? And it's also giving pirate, being marooned on an island. I don't think this is a pirate story. Good Dirt, no. Stolen Queen, no. Strangers in Time. Why is there so many books about London? Unbelievable. Stolen Life, The Bright Years, The Hounding. I've heard so many people talk about this book. The Cruise, The Virgin Suicides. That is a really interesting premise. I heard it's about dogs, though? Is it about girls turning into dogs or something? In this haunting debut about 5 sisters in a small village in 18th century England whose neighbors are convinced they're turning into dogs. Okay, even before the rumors about the Mansfield girls begin, Little Nettlebed is a village steeped in the uncanny, from strange creatures that wash up the riverbed to portentous ravens gathering on the roofs of people about to die. But when the villagers start to hear barking and one claims to see Mansfield's form before his very eyes, allegations spark fascination and fear like nothing has before. The truth is that the inhabitants of Little Nettlebed has never much liked the Mansfield girls. A little odd, think some, a little high on themselves, perhaps. They've always had plenty to say about them. As the rotating perspectives of 5 villagers quickly make clear, now is no exception. Even if locals' belief in witchcraft is warning and aversion to difference is as widespread. So this is really interesting, because I did see The Crucible in London at the play at the Globe. It was such an amazing time. I went in June. It was so spectacular. And then I watched the film after it. This is a really interesting book. This one strikes a total fancy. Yeah, I want to read this one. The Hounding celebrates the wild breaks from convention we're all sometimes pulled towards, and wonders, in a world like this one, it isn't safer to be a dog than an unusual young girl. I love this one because it's kind of giving like unhinged girlhood, because I noticed that's a very popular premise as well. Just like the overall the female experience, and how like it's so horrible that back then all these people like went through such terrible events, and a lot of it was targeted towards women. Insane, but that's a really interesting book, so I would want to give that one a read. Buckeye, Junie. Oh, nah. Homeseeking, The Lilac People, What Kind of Paradise, The Lost Story, Amity. So I like Giving Cowboy. my god, for me, I feel like the most boring subgenre would be like the Western. Like, oh my god, I'm so bored just thinking about it. Like, that would be so boring. Interesting. Okay, so I'm a little bit into historical fiction. Let's look at mystery and thriller. So the winner is Not Quite Dead by Holly Jackson. Of course, it's usually these very popular authors that are getting the wins. Like, can we let some young, smaller authors get some representation? So I wonder why people voted for this one the best one. It's a pretty neat trick with their first adult mystery thriller. Desperate heroine must solve her own murder. It gets weird, impending. Okay, I'm not really into that. The Tenant, The Impossible. I see this guy everywhere. He had so many books in Waterstones, like it's kind of insane. Like he owes. I feel like his book is on every single year. I see Richard Osman everywhere. He must be a fantastic writer. I've never read anything from him, but Beautiful Ugly, The Perfect Divorce, Vera Wrong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man. That is interesting. Never heard of that one. King of Ashes, Dan Brown, The Secrets of Secrets, They Let Him In, We Are All Guilty Here, The Crash, The Missing Half, The Intruder, Heartwood. Seen some people talk about this one. Didn't think I'll read it though. The Ghost Rider. Seen people. It's not really my take either. Sorry. Famous Last Words. You Killed Me. Forget Me Not. Gone Before Goodbye. The Widow. So I didn't. Interesting. So I feel like I don't really care about anything in. I'm not really into thriller, and I'm not into romance. I'm so not into romance. Okay, Emily Henry, of course you're the winner. Great Big Beautiful Life. No offense, but I actually DNF'd one of her books. So I was reading, what was it, the beach one, Happy Place? I was reading that one, and it's so boring, I DNF'd it. She does not tickle my fancy at all. Say You Remember Me, One Golden Summer, Deep End, Ali Hazelwood. She's actually a very popular one. Sorry. Don't think I'll read that one though. The Favorites, Rewind It Back, First Time Caller, Scythe and Sparrow. I like that title. That's really interesting. Wild Side, King of Envy, Problematic Summer Romance. I just don't care about romance books. I don't know why. The Gingerbread Bakery. Can't get enough. If It Makes You Happy. Now, I've seen one of my favorite booktubers read this one. I just don't care. I just don't like the rom-com vibes. I won't read it. Till Summer, Do Us Part, Tourist Season, Beg, Borrow, Steal, Story of My Life, Spiral, Love Arranged. Alright, so 0 from romance. Romantasy. Is that not the same genre? So it's romance but fantasy. Right. The winner. Rebecca Yarros, Onyx Storm. Okay. I didn't think I'd read that one. Alchemized. I've heard so many people say how bad Alchemized is. I was gonna give it a shot, but it's so thick. It looks like it's at least 700 pages. So thick. I don't think I'll be reading it. The Knight and the Moth. Ooh, that's such a beautiful cover. I love that. Great Cathedral. Okay, I love that. But I don't know. I'll probably just look at the cover, I feel like. Ali Hazelwood. This is like a vampire book, which I bought from Target and never read. It's just sitting. No, actually my sister has it. Shields of Sparrows, which is Guide to Magical Innkeeping, sorry. I just don't, it's not my thing. Compliance to the Villain. I've seen this cover kind of similar before with another one. Ooh, The Lost Fairy. So I've seen the Encyclopedia of Fairies. I won't be reading that one. I've got the first book. What's it called? Phantasium. I've gotten of this series. I don't think I'm gonna read that though. Wild Reverence, Silver Elite, The Songbird, and The Heart of Stone. Is it just me, or does every bloody fantasy have a skull, a sword, or like going like that, like this? Like, come on, guys, can we think of anything different? Dire Bound, the irresistible urge to fall for your enemy. Okay, it's very teenager vibes. Bonds of Hercules, Rose and Chains, Immortal, On Wings of Blood. The Wrath of the Fallen are Vicious Oaths. Next, Fantasy. So I actually have this book. I own this one, Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil. So this is the winner. Interesting, B. Schwab. So this one's about toxic lesbian vampires. Okay. I seen this one, very pop. R.F. Kwong. I met her at Oxford doing a signing for Babel, and she was the most lovely writer. I don't know how she makes books like pop out every year, like best-selling novels every year. She's such a killer writer. Like, I don't know how she does it. Dante's Inferno meets Susanna Clark's Piranesi. Wow, that's interesting, but I don't think I'll read it. I do love the cover though. I think the cover is stunning. It's very, it did something to my brain with these like rooms and shit spiraling down. Wind and Truth, Alchemy of Secrets, Sirens, Strength of the Few, The Devils, Water Moon, The Raven Scholar, The River Has Roots, Brighams and Bread Knives. I read Travis's Baldy Legends and Lattes, and that book was great. It was very atmospheric, very ambiance, no plot. Not like anything really dramatic, not like a big climax or anything. It was all just kind of like this throughout the whole book. It was just like listening to like a cafe ambiance, you know. Which, you know, if you like that. I'm not really about an ambiance person vibes, like just vibes and no plot. I'm not really into that. I love a plot, a good juicy plot. So I'm not a big fan of his series, but I think he's, you know, some people love the cozy fantasy, so that's great. Drop Corruption, Hemlock and Silver, A Resistance of Witches, The Everlasting, Alex Harrow, King Sorrow, Thief of Night, Holly Black, wrote so many books. Red City, The Society of the Unknowable Objects, The Incandescent. So From fantasy, I'm gonna read Burial Bones in the Midnight Soil. So just one book out of that. Next genre is science fiction. So this winner is Aislinn Rowell, The Compound. I've never heard of this book. And just so I don't bore you guys, I'm not interested in any of these. Science fiction is my least favorite. Okay, let's go to the horror genre. Grandi Hendrix. So he's the winner for this one. I do think I'll be reading it though. Never Flinch, Stephen King. It's amazing he still makes it on the list after all these years. I've just started to read one of his books, but I don't really have any thoughts about Stephen King yet because I haven't read like it full. So I know he has a ton of books. I'm still a newbie when it comes to Stephen King. So Buffalo Hunter, Bewitching, Play Nice. It's a really interesting cover, cartoonish. Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang. Hungerstone. Currently reading that one, so I guess I just put want to read. This is the horror genre. So We Love You, Bunny. One of my favorite booktubers DNF'd this one, so I feel like it's not as good as the first one. The Possession of Al-Badais. I love the cover, but I don't really fancy like Mexican or like Spanish vibes. The Lamb. I wonder what this one's about. When the Wolf Comes Home, You Weren't Meant to Be Human. Alien Meets Midsummer. Okay, I like how they say this meets this meets that, so everything's just meeting each other. Blood on Her Tongue. So I was gonna buy this one actually. I saw this in the first time in Florida when I was at a Walmart in Florida. And I think the cover's stunning. I do want to read it someday, but I think anytime soon. But I do like a good gothic horror, and anything that mentions like Bram Stoker's novel. Yeah, I want to read that one. The Haunting of Payne's Hollow. I heard this one is kind of similar to Sleepy Hollow. A big ass synopsis. Don't think I'll be reading it though. This one, I want to read that one. Okay. Bad the Things Get. What was this? Chuck Tingle Lucky Day. Really interesting cover. I like the medieval king vibes. Immaculate Conception. What Hunger. I've seen some people talk about this one, but I'll probably never read it. Coffin Moon. Breathe In, Bleed Out. This one looks like a vintage, like, you know those vintage book covers that were like from the 80s. It kind of looks like that. But I don't think I'll read it. So we have, let's see, we've got like 2 books in here. Okay, next is debut novel. So the winner is Alchemist. So this must be a good book because 100, like, look how many people voted, like 100,000 plus. So it must be a good book. But why have I heard so many people talk bad about it? I've heard so many people say things about it that they don't like. So I'm not really sure what to say about it. Maybe you can write in the comments if you've read it. Right, next one, the names. Correspondent, Bright Years, When the Tides Held the Moon. Ooh, it's so pretty. In Coney Island, true love rises to the surface with lush illustrations and buoyant prose. Ooh, this one might be good. Oh, wow. It's kind of hard to see the cover. It's giving like pirate fantasy because it's like a mermaid. I think that's a mermaid. Ooh, might read that one. So we're in debut novel. So there's one. Nope, The Irish Goodbye. June, no. Homeseeking, Lilac People, Finding Grace, Aftertaste, A Family Matter, Loved One, Woodworking, The Witch's Orchard, The Eight, The Merge, Dominion. Excuse me. Interesting. The Original Daughter. So we only have one book from debut novel. Novel that I'd be interested in reading. Next is audiobook. Of course, Onyx Storm is the winner. Then it's Atmosphere, Harry Potter. Okay, a lot of people are getting back into the old stuff. Great Big Beautiful Life, Friends, Pride and Prejudice. That's interesting. I would actually love to listen to like a Pride and Prejudice, because I think they like have sound effects and whatnot, so it sounds like really cool. All right. Next is young adult fantasy and sci-fi. I don't think I'll actually read any of these, so we'll just skim quick. I'm not really interested. Never Ever After. I always think these ones are super cute, these little fairy tale books. They remind me of like something Darlene Desi would read, but I'm not really interested in that. Young adult fiction. The winner is Fake Skating. Okay. Glorious Rivals, Dating Dragons, Falling Like Leaves, Fell Apart, Survival Wants to Die at the End, I Am Not Jessica Chen, Nobody in Particular, You Found Oliver. I won't be reading any of those. I'm not really into young adult fiction. I just love a good horror or good contemporary or a classic. I love classics. Nonfiction, nah, I'm not gonna read any of those. Memoirs, have I ever read? I feel like, ooh, this one's sheer. I'd like to read it someday, but I probably won't. Paper Girl. Okay, history and biography. Okay, let's see what we have here. Baldwin, Sisters in Science, Propaganda Girls, Original Sins. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that is it. There's no poetry category, which is really sad because since I'm a writer, poet myself, I love reading what other people write, but they don't have a category, so that's sad. Anyway, so I wrote down my books that I've picked. So has been a very, very interesting bunch of books that, so this is what people are into. How interesting. So fiction, I chose one book. Historical fiction, I chose 3. Fantasy, 1, which is surprising because I'm not a big fantasy reader. Horror, 3. Debut novel, 2. So historical fiction and horror, that literally sums up my reading taste. Okay, so I think I found some new books that I want to read. So, okay. I wonder if, like, I should make another video, like, after I buy these books and whatnot and read them. I wonder if I should make a whole nother video of my review of each of the books that I read, which I think might be fun to watch. But thank you so much for being here, for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. I know I enjoyed watching other people make this video. Thank you so much. Please subscribe, comment down below as it helps with my engagement. Like the video, do what you gotta do to show your support so I can continue to make beautiful content like this. And yeah, I'm so happy that I found some new books to read to add to my TBR. And I'm going to be reading Hungerstone, like I said, at my book club on Fable. So if you want to join that, that would be amazing. And I have a reading sprint coming up on Saturday if you want to be up for that, which is coming up on the 13th. Again, thank you so much for your love, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much.